Hey there, friends and enemies. Joby here again, and today I need to talk about unlicensed sports cards, as this is going to be a major topic in the hobby over the next few years. As in case you missed it, Topps and Fanatics have essentially cornered the market. They've gotten pretty much all of the major licenses for the top sports in America at the very least, with Major League Baseball, NBA, and NFL all falling under their umbrella, and Panini essentially losing out on all of these licenses that they've had for a very long time. And I think this is a problem that I'll get into, and I'll talk a little bit more about how this could be a monopoly. There is a lot of downfalls with Topps owning all of this, especially because Fanatics in general has had a lot of issues. Their quality control has gone down. They're overcharging for less than stellar products. But I specifically want to focus on the unlicensed cards and what I hope to see going forward if we are going to see a lot more unlicensed product over the next few years. And this is as we did get the reveal of the Donruss basketball set for this year, which is very hit or miss in my opinion. This downtown I think looks very good. The pose is a perfect one for an unlicensed card where you won't have the team name or logo on there. However, obviously the actual uniform looks like hand drawn on, so that's going to be an exception rather than the rule in a card like this. And again, they're going to put a little bit more effort into the downtowns. This Slammy, again, it's very much like an art card rather than an in-action type of shot. So that's why it's going to look a little bit better and not as much of an issue as an unlicensed card, in my opinion. Then we go over, but this is where we start to see some of the problems. Having a jersey like this general look with it being all white, I think really is underwhelming. And that's where they're going to have to be really careful and try to focus a little bit more on what shots they use for these unlicensed cards. They're not all going to look great, but they can put a bit more effort into the way they look, in my opinion, and be a little bit more selective in the shots that they actually choose. And you look at something like this, Magic Johnson is a better option because it's kind of covering the front. It's not as obviously if you collect sports cards, if you're a sports fan, it's very telling that it is an unlicensed card, but at first glance, it's not as obvious as you might expect from some of the other cards. So I think this is more of the example that you'd want them to use going forward. And there are other ways to do this as well. I think it's harder to do with baseball because you've got obviously, again, you've got the whammy card. This is similar to the other one we saw. This card right here is a good example. Got the helmet on. You typically won't see teams always wear their have their logo or anything on their batting helmets, so that makes a lot of sense. Those cards look pretty good. Here, you look at the uniform. It doesn't look so bad here, but at the same time, there are some of these cards that I think look like right this one. It's so plain that it's very obviously like it looks so generic, and that's what you want to try to avoid if at all possible. Whereas the Skeens right here, yes, the hat gives it away for sure, but at least it's got a little bit better style wise because I think it adds some more elements. It's a uniform obviously that has a little bit more colors and stuff mixed in, and I think that makes it look better. Now, whether they'll be more valuable, I don't think so. There's always going to be a bit of a stigma around the unlicensed cards. The licensed cards are just naturally going to be more valuable at the end of the day, but I think the gap could close if some of these cards are done well. And then I'll move over to other companies that have been doing unlicensed cards for a while. You've got Wild Card, right? They do these unlicensed cards. Obviously, these are all the college uniforms, so if you have rookies, you could use these college uniforms, which don't look as out of place. But I think the focus for a lot of these cards is the rest of what the card looks like. Like if you do a portrait shot here on the Malik Willis, it looks a bit better than having the full uniform, which sometimes will look a little bit less exciting. Then you've got like these QB1s, for example. This Jared Goff is a unlicensed card, but for whatever reason, because of the background, because of the way they've kind of made it look, it is, again, like, if you collect sports cards, I'm not trying to tell you that this is going to be a one-for-one replacement for a licensed card, because it's not, but some of them can look just so much better than the base cards that we have in a lot of the Donruss sets that are just obviously annoyingly, they look like pajamas, or they look like just throwaway uniforms that you might find in a generic practice facility or something like that. So again, I'm annoyed by it. I just want to know also what everyone else's thoughts are on licensed cards in general. Are they an immediate no-go, or if the card is good enough, will you stick with it? Because I think there are a lot of cards out there that will be worth collecting, even though they are unlicensed. Like, I'm not going to turn down a Downtown just because it's unlicensed, but I don't know if I'm going to collect as many of the base rookie cards. Like, I have a lot of the Topps base Cooper Flag, Con, and everything like that. And that brings me to another factor with regards to these. I do feel like the draft class is going to matter so much more for the unlicensed sets. Like, so this draft class for the NBA is really good. So a lot of people will still probably try to chase those cards for the best rookies. Whereas this draft class for the NFL was very underwhelming. So it's very likely that if this had been an unlicensed year for Panini, a lot of people would have passed on some of those sets. Whereas next year could be very, very different. And so because of that, that changes things as well. And I think that's a factor people need to take into consideration. At the end of the day, though, I do think this licensing problem is going to come to a head. We've already seen Topps and Fanatics. Their quality control has gone down. Their pricing has gone up. Their general consumer relations have also gone down, and it feels like they are trying to maximize profits to such a degree that they're going to drive a lot of people away from the hobby. And hopefully that is not the case. There's a lot of companies that can produce really good cards, and I hope this licensing issue gets fixed. They resolve it, whether it's in court or whether it is through some a settlement or something like that, and allow some of these other companies to get the license, or at least loan out, maybe sublet the license to these other companies to allow them to continue to make these additional cards, so that way it isn't as much of a monopoly. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure if it's ultimately going to shake out that way, but I do think that we are in for an interesting couple years, and hopefully this leads all the companies to having to improve. Hopefully Panini and Donruss and Wildcard, they have to go above and beyond with their card designs in order to make them appealing, which could just improve the hobby at the end of the day. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video as always, comment, subscribe. Have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.